What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I need to just start doing reaction videos to different politicians because this is ridiculous. This is like the third video I've done this week where a politician has said something just either wrong, he's lying, or just something, not a smart thing to say. And we're going to take a look and listen to Senator Tom Cotton. This was a couple of days ago. He put this out. He was actually speaking on the Senate floor and he said this. And so we're going to play it. He got corrected in real time. So you had another senator come up right after him and correct him. But it's just, I'm going to talk about it at the end of the video. But it's just amazing to me. Either these politicians don't do the research or they're purposely trying to mislead people. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about financial news and what's going on in Washington, D.C. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so let's go right over to the clip. This is Senator Cotton from Arkansas. Here we go.
Look, if you want to have a broader debate about law enforcement, I can, but we're going to be here for a long time. It's your party that voted in lockstep for the First Step Act that let thousands of violent felons back on the street who have now committed innumerable violent crimes.
The First Step Act, the Democrats did the First Step Act. The Republicans were in a majority. It was a bill sponsored by Senator Grassley, Durbin, Lee, and many others. And who signed it into law? Donald Trump signed it into law.
Yes, it's true that President Trump signed the First Step Act. The First Step Act was the worst mistake of the Trump administration. Yes, it's true that a number of Republican senators voted for it. They were wrong.
Okay, so that was Senator Tom Cotton, and in real time, he was corrected by Senator Durbin, who was one of the co-sponsors of this bill that Senator Cotton was talking about. But like Senator Durbin said, this is when the Senate was controlled by Republicans. And so, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand why Senator Cotton would come out and say that. And Senator Cotton was a senator at this time. Okay, he might have voted against it, but he was still a senator, and he should know how things went down. And he can easily do the research. I mean, he's doing a speech on the Senate floor, so I'm sure he had something that he was going off, some type of bullet points or something that he wanted to talk about. So he should have done the research if he didn't know that this bill went through a majority Republican Senate and was signed off by the president. He should have done the research, but apparently he didn't do the research, and that's why we're talking about this right now. It's just amazing to me. So I think either he is just flat out just lying to the American people and hoping that the American people don't catch on, or in some cases, if you say it, people are going to believe you regardless. So he can say it, and even though he had to, backtrack, they might not see the fact that he had to backtrack. They hear the first thing he says, and then they just go with it. But I mean, he was fact-checked real time, which I think is great. It's great when that happens, because then the politician's going to have to come out and say, yeah, you know what? I was wrong, and this was President Trump's worst decision or worst bill that he signed or what have you. But it's just amazing to me. And let's go ahead and take a look at Senator Cotton, and this is Ballotpedia. So Senator Cotton just ran for re-election in 2020, so his term doesn't end until 2027. Of course, he's making $174,000, and his net worth is, now this is interesting. A lot of these politicians, especially the senators, they're in the millions when it comes to their net worth. But his net worth is $282,000. At least this is according to this Ballotpedia. Now, what I find interesting, very educated man, bachelor's degree from Harvard College, law degree from Harvard Law. So this is not someone that you would think would not do their research before speaking to the American people. But apparently either he's caught off guard and he was just speaking, thinking, okay, well, maybe this makes sense, but how could it make sense? Because it was passed just a few years ago. So I don't know. I don't know why he would say this, but this is one of those things. We're paying these politicians $174,000 a year. That's their base pay. And they're coming out and just not telling you the truth. And that should concern people. Now, obviously, Senator Cotton, he's got plenty of time left, 2027. So he's not going to be running for re-election anytime soon. But this should not be tolerated. I mean, we should not have politicians that just come out and just say things that are just not true, because that's not what we're paying them for. We're paying them to represent the people, and you need to represent the people accurately and not give out all this false information. So I really want to know what you guys think about this. Like I said, Senator Tom Cotton caught off guard, I guess, or just trying to lie and getting caught in a lie. But I mean, he's not running until 2027, but he just created a campaign ad against him because he lied right in front of the American people and got caught lying and then had to backpedal. So nonetheless, I want to know what you guys think about it. So let me know down below. And one more thing I want to talk about, and this is a reaction to a video I did a couple of days ago. I was talking about presidential powers, and someone in the comments, or a couple of people in the comments, said, what about executive order? That's a presidential power. The president does have the power to put out executive orders. That's true. It is not in the Constitution. So this is something that was more interpreted, and this was just to help when it comes to getting things through. Like if there's something that needs to happen right away, executive order. That's what you'll see a president do. But still, just like I was saying, when you look at the presidential powers, the most important thing to focus on, the spending. The president does not have the authority to do an executive order where there's spending involved. He does not have the authority to do that. And so I know there are people out there. I get links. If you guys don't know this, people send me links all the time to other YouTubers. And they say, well, no, you're not telling us the truth, because look at this link. And I take a look at the link, and then I have to come out and say, and I'm not putting people out there, but I have to come out and say stuff like this. Look, an executive order is not going to get a stimulus check. It is not going to happen. Okay. When we were looking at a situation with President Trump, because some people will go to President Trump and say, well, President Trump did an executive order when it came to enhanced unemployment. Well, what he did is he took money out of the emergency fund. Okay. Now the president controls the emergency fund. He took $40 billion from the emergency fund. Now that's not a smart thing to do, because the emergency fund is there for a reason, and you need to have that money in case of an emergency. We see hurricanes and earthquakes and flooding and all this different stuff that happens. That's when they take from that emergency fund to help those different areas, right? Now, if you don't have any money in the emergency fund, then guess what? Now you're going to have to go to Congress and try to get some type of an emergency funding, because you don't have any money there. So he took $40 billion, and that's what he used to help when it came to the enhanced unemployment. However, that needed to be replenished, right? You can't just leave that money. You have to have some type of an emergency fund, just like a bank account. I need to have some money in my savings just in case of an emergency. So in my opinion, that's not the right way to do it, to take from the emergency fund in order to just fund something else. So in this situation, $40 billion is not going to go very far. We already know when it comes to stimulus checks, we already know stimulus checks were $400 and something billion is what the last stimulus checks. That's how much money they needed. So let's say cut it in half. You give half the people that received stimulus checks last time, give them stimulus checks this time. We're still in the $250 billion range. And so even if President Biden did want to take that emergency fund money and send out stimulus checks, it's only going to be 40 billion or somewhere around that number. So it's not going to be enough. Okay. Now I've had other people say, well, there's $800 billion. There's $800 billion left over from the last stimulus packages. They can just repurpose that money and send it as stimulus checks. You're right. They can repurpose that money, but guess who the they is? The they is Congress. Congress has to do that, not the president. So the president can't sign an executive order to send out that $800 billion, because that money was allocated for certain things. And if it's unspent, it comes back to Congress. Congress has to decide what to do with it, because they hold the purse. And so I hope you guys understand that. And anybody that's out there that's telling you otherwise, they're not telling you the truth. Okay. And you can call them out on it. Call them out on it and say, explain how this is going to happen. Explain exactly what's going to happen. And then they'll probably come and watch my video and tell you the same thing that I just told you now. But when it comes down to it, spending comes from Congress. It does not come from the president. So he has the authority to do executive orders. But if there's money involved, if there's spending involved, he can't do an executive order for that. That's all I have for today. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.